6 months ago, something happened at my job that genuinely made me nervous. And I don't say that lightly. I've been in data for a while. I know what I'm doing. But this thing made me stop and think. Am I still as valuable as I think I am? People who used to come to us for analysis started doing it themselves. Not because they suddenly became data analysts, but because AI gave them just enough capability to answer their own basic questions. And once that happened, they stopped coming to us. And it left me wondering, if everyone can do data, what exactly is left for us to do? Okay, so let me give you some context because I think my situation might be familiar to many of you. My company started with a ChatGPT license, and honestly, for some tasks, it was fine. But it didn't really change how we worked day to day. It wasn't deeply integrated into anything. You'd use it here and there, but it didn't feel like a shift. It felt like a slightly better Google. Then a second tool came in. It is more connected to our actual data and company infrastructure. And that's when things started to change. Because suddenly, other teams could query data in plain language. Marketing could ask questions. Product team could build their own weekly reports. They didn't need to submit a request and wait for us anymore. But here's the thing that made it complicated. They could do it because we built the foundation for it. Our data team created the semantic layer. We cleaned the data, we defined the metrics, we made sure everything meant what it was supposed to mean. We did all that work. And then, once it was done, they didn't need us for the follow-up anymore. That's a weird feeling. You build something that makes you less necessary for certain things, and you have to figure out what that means. Here's what actually made me nervous. It wasn't that AI was doing my job. It was something more subtle. Business teams started comparing. They'd come to us with a question. They'd also put the same question into the AI tool. And sometimes, for simple stuff, the AI answer was good enough. And good enough is dangerous. Because if stakeholders can't tell the difference between AI answer and a properly validated analysis, and in their mind, they're getting the same value for free. That's the shift nobody talks about. It's not that AI replaces you formally. It's that it slowly erases your perceived value if you let it. So I started asking myself, what do I do that AI cannot replicate? And am I doing enough of it? And the honest answer was, not always. I was spending a lot of time on things that felt important, but were actually execution. Writing queries, cleaning data, formatting reports. Useful work, but not the work that actually requires a human with business context and analytical judgment. That realization changed how I approached everything. So let me tell you what I think actually makes an analyst hard to replace. Not just by AI, but in general. Number one, you have to be the person who asks better questions. AI answers what you ask it. It does not tell you that you're asking the wrong thing. The analyst who sits in a meeting, hears a business problem, and translates it into the right analytical question, that's not a skill you can automate. That's judgment. And it's probably the most valuable thing you can develop. Number two, you need to own the interpretation layer. This is the semantic layer challenge in action. Once the infrastructure is built, other teams can easily self-serve data, but you must be the person they come to for the answer. To do this, you have to master the end-to-end business logic and understand how any change impacts business metrics and what can be the outcome. If a product removes a feature that impacts conversion rates, you should know which department should be informed, like paid acquisition, to adapt their strategy immediately. Context is your territory. Protect it, refine it, and ensure the organization recognizes you as the definitive voice on what the numbers actually mean. Number three, you need to learn how to use AI efficiently. And I don't mean using it as a replacement for your job. I mean using it to supercharge your execution. Here's what I did. I audited every single task I worked on over the last 6 months. I categorized them by value. What was high impact? What was just busy work? And most importantly, what was repetitive enough to be automated? I essentially made a hit list of every low-value, boring task that was eating my calendar. Like analyzing A/B test results that has standard procedure but was taking 25% of my time. Then I built AI-driven workflows to handle them. The results were a triple win. For me, I'm happier because I'm not stuck in the boring stuff anymore. For my stakeholders, their requests are handled 10x faster because the plumbing is automated. For the business, we're delivering high-revenue projects without additional cost. Using AI doesn't mean you're not needed anymore. It means you still bring the brain, but you're spending your time smarter. You're outsourcing the execution so you can focus on the strategy. If you're early in your data career, or you're trying to figure out how to position yourself in this market, here's what I'd actually focus on: SQL, data cleaning, basic stats, visualization. You need to know this stuff well enough that when AI produces something, you can evaluate it. You cannot skip this step. The people who are thriving with AI tools right now are the ones who have enough experience to supervise them. Build the foundation first. Get comfortable with ambiguity. This is what companies actually pay senior analysts for, not the ability to run a query, the ability to take a vague business question, figure out what's actually being asked, design an approach, and communicate findings to people who don't speak data. That's a skill you build through practice, not through prompts. Start building AI into your workflow deliberately. Pick one thing you do regularly, a report, an analysis, a data cleaning task, and figure out how AI can make it faster. Document what works. That's not just useful for you personally. If you're at a company that hasn't fully figured this out yet, being the person who builds those workflows makes you extremely valuable. And one more thing. The nervousness I felt when I saw other departments becoming more independent. I understand now that it was actually useful information. It was telling me to evolve. Not to panic, but to ask, what's my next level? The answer for me was less time on pure execution, more time on strategy, communication, and making sure the data infrastructure we build actually connects to business decisions. That's a position AI is not going to occupy anytime soon. So, will AI replace data analysts? No, but it is changing what a data analyst needs to be. The execution layer, like writing queries, pulling reports, formatting dashboards, AI handles a lot of it, or it helps other teams handle it themselves. That's just the reality. What's not going away, what's actually more valuable now, is the judgment layer. Knowing which questions to ask, understanding the business well enough to interpret what the numbers mean, building the infrastructure that makes data usable in the first place, communicating insights in a way that actually influences decisions. That's the job now. And if you're building toward that, you're not at risk. You're ahead of it. Drop a comment. I'm genuinely curious. Has your company started using AI in the data workflow? Has it changed how your team operates? I'd love to know what you're seeing on the ground. See you in the next one.